you can kind of continue writing code in JavaScript as well. But remember, we said we can write the code in Java also, we can write the code in Python also. So how do we achieve it? There is something called as bindings, which I have been emphasizing a number of times. So most of you might not really be aware of JavaScript. And if you are not, you can choose to write the code in Java or you can choose to write the code in Python. Now, why is an API binding supported? So think of use cases where Playwright was created in JavaScript, TypeScript to use or increase the adoption as a tool in the industry itself and probably build a community over time. But most of the applications are still not on top of JavaScript or TypeScript, and they're still using Java as a backend architecture or front end, or Python in other cases, or PHP, different other languages that there could be, right? So for me, if I am running a community, if I'm running a tool, it becomes important and necessary to allow other ecosystems to be able to interact with me, right? So for example, let's say if we are doing this session in Hindi, I will be able to interact with most of the people who are from India. But in case if I have to export my library or my sessions to people beyond India, one use case is I can start dubbing them in different languages, namely, let's say English, French, Spanish, or whatever. Or I can just have a conversation in English itself, restrict myself in English so that people maybe from other affinities can also join in and learn. So that's the core understanding between API bindings and natively supported languages or frameworks. That if I am generating or working on something, I will expose the functionality through APIs, which will mimic the natively implemented languages, the use case or functionality itself. So let's say if I have a click function in JavaScript, which will go to a browser and just do a click on a button or a ID or anything, right? I will just expose an API in form of wrapper on that particular stack of Python or Java, through which it can also do the similar functionality if I am running through Java or if I am running through Python. So that's the core concept of having API bindings, and this is why some or most of the tools and libraries today, they are supporting different API bindings for the complete ecosystem to adopt and use it, right? The only drawback is if it's a natively integrated ecosystem, probably the delivery of the features will be faster. For example, if Google thinks of generating or working on a new operating system, it will be faster and easier rollout for the people who are on Google ecosystem, who basically uses Pixel today, right? So they will be the first one to get the updated code or updated OS for that. But for people who are adopted on Samsung, Xiaomi, it will take their own time, right? So because they'll have to go back and work on their skins, their own implementation of functionality. So that's the only limitation of API bindings. That in terms of exposing these APIs, you might see a certain bit of delay or certain weeks of time before it gets to you. So that's the only caveat you should think.